Good evening, all. Welcome to today's Cancer Healing Journey Talks. Myself, Annie Jose from Community Outreach Team of ZenOnco.io and Love Heals Cancer. Cancer Healing Journey Talks helps cancer survivors and caregivers to share their journey with vast number of survivors and caregivers who have traveled or been traveling through this journey. This can inspire and motivate them for their faster recovery as well. I would like to introduce today's speaker, Dorine Olive. She is an ovarian cancer survivor. So, welcome to today's session, Dorine. Over to you.
Thank you. So you just want me to start basically from the beginning, right?
Right.
Okay, so back in 2018, around July timeframe, I was doing yoga 5 days a week, and there were two particular poses that I felt something very, very slight that I wasn't sure if it was something or not. It was that unobtrusive. Finally, after about several weeks of me still feeling this during these two particular poses, I thought, I probably should just go to the doctor and just have him check this out. One reason why I wasn't so interested in going to the doctor is because I had just gone to the doctor in April, and obviously everything checked out perfectly fine with me. And again, it was no pain. It was absolutely nothing except for I questioned, do I have this little feeling here, or is it in my head, So I went to the doctor, and the first thing that he said when he did the exam is, he goes, "Oh my goodness," he goes, "this definitely was not here back in April." He said, "Let me do it an ultrasound, go in the next room." So they did an ultrasound, and they found a 5-inch mass. I wasn't really concerned with it because I had had other cysts before. And so a friend of mine actually happens to be a gynecological oncologist. So I sent him an image of what was up on the screen, and he asked me, he said, "You need to be in my office tomorrow morning at 7:30. So I was very, very fortunate to have him also as my dear friend who got me in to see him right away. So I went in the next day, and they did the CA-125 test on me, and that came back perfectly normal. So again, I'm feeling fine. My CA-125 was fine. So I feel like, okay, it's really nothing is going on here. But he did say to me, he goes, you really need to have a hysterectomy." Well, I was planning to go on vacation in a couple of weeks, and I said, "Well, can we please do it after I get back from vacation?" And he said, "No, absolutely not." So then we negotiated. I said, "Well, can I still go on vacation after the surgery?" So he said I could. So we scheduled the surgery for August 23rd. And when I went in, with the anesthesia, they asked me, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I just would like to know, when do I get to go home?" And they said, "You can go home tomorrow morning, 5:30, 6:30 in the morning." Well, I remember waking up during, the middle of the night, like 3 in the morning. My surgery was at 11:30, and I woke up at 3:30, just very twilight. Fell back asleep. I woke up at 6:30, maybe a few seconds longer, twilight, fell back asleep. And then I woke up at 9:30. Right away, I looked over at my boyfriend and I said, "What is going on?" I said, "Obviously they gave me a lot more anesthesia. They kept me under a lot longer." I said, "Number two," I said, "I'm still here. I should have been gone several hours ago." I said, "And number three, I would have had a text message from my dear friend, my doctor friend who did my surgery, saying everything's okay." I said, "And I have nothing. What's going on?" And that's when he looked at me and told me that they had discovered some ovarian cancer. But the interesting thing is, my yoga led me to the mass. The mass led me to having a hysterectomy. The hysterectomy led us to finding the ovarian cancer. The mass that I had had nothing to do with the cancer. I just happened to have a little bit of growing both in one of my ovaries, and then they discovered, after they did other biopsies, outside my pelvic wall, they found a second type of ovarian cancer. So then, several weeks later is when the whole chemo started, and that, as everybody who has been through this process knows, and I had every possible side effect that you could imagine. And December 31st, 2019, I was very fortunate and lucky enough to be able to ring the bell for my last treatment. And a couple months later, I have obviously been clean since then.
So how did you manage your emotional well-being throughout your cancer journey?
Well, you know, for me, there's two sides. I have a yin and a yang side. There is no doubt. Every day that went by, I had tears. I cried every single day. But on the flip side of that, I had so many people, friends that reached out to me. Thank goodness this is where social media is such a wonderful thing, because I had so many people reach out to me, people that I had not seen for over 40 years. I had, people sending me, little gifts in the mail, and sending me food and sending me cards and words of encouragement. And because I have learned so much, and because I really didn't know anything about cancer, and I never have had an opportunity to walk beside somebody going through this journey, I knew that I wouldn't remember a lot of this stuff. So there were several things that I did. One, I kept a spreadsheet of all the wonderful things that people did for me, because I said, in the future, when I know people that are going through this, I need to have a resource of, things that I can do for them. So I was able to do that, but I also, because every single week I learned something new about what I was experiencing, and with the side effects, and what people were doing for me to help me and encourage me. I was doing a weekly update on Facebook social media every single Saturday. Saturday was the morning that I woke up and was informed of my diagnoses, at 10 o'clock. So it was kind of very symbolic to me to do that every single week. And I, again, just had so many people literally from around the world that were just there encouraging me. So now it's my opportunity to try to give back and help educate other women, and to also be there for other people that are going through any sort of cancer journey.
Yeah, right. So how did your family took the news?
Very difficult. I think that's probably the reaction with a lot of family members. My sister, she's the one that I'm closest to, and so she obviously made it a mission to head down here, because I live in Florida and she's up in Wisconsin. So she made it a point to fly down as soon as she could, and having her here was certainly very nice. And then at the end of my treatment, she came back and surprised me. They wrapped her up in a big old box at Christmas time, and it was one of my last treatments, second to last treatments. And I came home and I was very, very drugged up from that particular treatment, because the whole cumulative toxicity was really taking its toll on me. And she was in a big old box wrapped in my living room, and I had to come in and unwrap her, and she popped out of the box. And so it was wonderful to have the family support, for certain.
That's great. So how was the support from the doctors and the other medical team?
So it truly was. They are all angels on heaven. They really are. Every time I had to go into the chemo treatments every week, I was just I was an emotional person during the whole time. And so every time I would see them and I would go in, I would just tell them how appreciative I was for them, and how caring and how loving, and these truly are just incredibly special people. So I cannot say enough good things about the care whenever I was going in, and the big hearts that these people have. They really do. They're just amazing.
Right. So what will be your message to the survivors and caregivers out there?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What was that?
Sorry, what will be your message to the survivors and caregivers out there?
Surround yourself, allow people to help you. Let people know, give them the okay that it's okay if that's what you want. Not everybody is the same, obviously, but my mantra as I spoke every week, one of the things I would constantly say is when in doubt, reach out. So many times people are afraid to reach out, or they may be afraid to talk to the person about what they're going through. And you know, some people, I think there's like a stigma associated with the word cancer. And I know for me, it really meant a lot, you know, to just have that relationship with people. Like I said, even people that I was not necessarily that close to, but just knowing that people cared really meant a lot. And, you know, I've actually met a couple other people since then that have gone through this journey by themselves. And that really breaks my heart. I just can't even imagine. I met a lady in a parking lot once, and we both at the time had bald heads, you know, and so we, you know, bonded right away. And but you know, people say, you know, you've got to be positive. You've got to be positive. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely have to be positive. But in reality, you know, we're all human, and we do have our moment. You know, life is a roller coaster, and certainly going through the chemo treatment and cancer certainly was a roller coaster ride as well. You know, let yourself be however you feel you need to be. You know, we can't be positive 100% of the time. At least I know I can't. I'm trying my best, but it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to break down. It's okay to have a few moments, you know, where the other thing that I learned too, you know, a lot of times people say, oh, you know, how is your day today? You know, and it's not like you have a great day. You may have great moments. If you're lucky, you'll have great hours, but there never really was a full 24-hour great day, other than just being alive. That was great.
That's right. So, do you think cancer has changed you in a positive way?
Has changed me in a positive way? Absolutely. I have always been the type of person, just go, 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 go. And the expression stopping and smelling the roses is definitely something that I'm slowing down and learning to appreciate. And just really appreciating time is another thing. You may have heard the 7 languages of love, and time has always been mine. And this time spending with people has really come to light and make me realize, you know, time is something you can't get back. I can't get back the time that I lost, obviously. And so whenever somebody allows me their valuable, precious time to spend those moments doing something together, that's probably one of my most valuable, cherished things in my life.
That's right. So, have you made any lifestyle changes during or after the treatment?
You know, I'd like to say that I've cut out sugar, but
Yeah.
I admire so many people that say that they can do that. I do it a little bit here and there, but you know, I've always really been into eating healthy anyhow. You know, I mean, I grow my own garden, we have our own chickens, have our own eggs. You know, so I always feel that there's always areas to improve on exercise, improve on, you know, maybe cutting out a little bit more sugar. You know, it's not like I eat a lot of sugar, but I do like my little treats. So probably just maybe improving a little bit on each of those areas is definitely something that I will continue to strive to do.
So, regarding the stigmas of cancer, so people are still not happy to talk about cancer, and they consider cancer as a deathly sentence. So, what do you think about all those things?
I would never want to push my beliefs on anybody, but you know, and I have since then known people who have definitely kept it to themselves. I'll never understand, just like nobody understands, you know, the journey that I went through. All I can say is, you know, to have people talk about it more and more does definitely remove the whole stigma and the fear. It's very similar a lot as well to, you know, people talking about, you know, when somebody passes, you know, you're always afraid to talk about the person that passed. And I'm learning, you know, it really brings happiness to people to talk about the person and then share the memories. So I think that there's some similarities, you know, on the cancer side, you know, when you have that support, when you have the human connection and people reaching out and being there for each other is so powerful and so important. And for me, I'm a people person, so I totally definitely believe, and I've been on several different fundraising efforts regarding ovarian cancer now, and I, you know, during the month of September especially, walk around with my teal ribbon, and I actually made an 8-foot teal ribbon made out of, I mean, it was 8 foot tall and about 3 feet wide, and I took all of the materials, the packaging from my you know, the arm cuffs and the wristbands that I got every time I went to the doctor's office, and the band-aids and cards that people sent me, and I started, it told a story, a journey. So, you know, again, it's just all about awareness, and talk about it. The more you talk about things, the more people become, I think, more comfortable with them.
So one last question, Dorine. So if you have to sum up your journey in one sentence, what would that be? I know it's a tricky question, like a motivational quote or something like that.
One of the words that I got from a lot of people was that I have inspired people throughout my journey. So I was very happy to learn that despite how difficult things were, that I inspired others.
So thank you so much, and the session was really beautiful, and thank you for being here. Thank you for inspiring multiple cancer patients and survivors out there as well. So thank you so much once again, Dorine.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.